You ever hear the term success leaves clues? Well, I'm sure you have. If you haven't, you heard it now. Many times you hear that and you think, I need to find someone who's successful in my exact area that I work on, the exact area that I'm in, my industry. Hold on, I got to remove a screen. Exact industry that I'm in. But success leaves clues in other areas. And so in this video, we're going to take a look at the Olympics, the Olympics we just had there, and we'll find in there some things in the Olympics, some takeaways where success in the athletes and the event and all the things that we can actually utilize to help us like explode our business, to grow our business. There's things that we can learn from. Um, so watching the Olympics itself, I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but the Olympics draws me in. So even in these points that I'm making, I'm probably going to make a lot of more points that are coming from the areas that I'm drawn to more, which is track and field, basketball. Those are the things I watch a little bit more than the others because that's just something I'm more interested in. We look back, even my own personal story of sitting. I can remember sitting in the couch with my dad watching the Olympics, and I remember back in I think it was '92 when the Olympic trials were in New Orleans, and my dad and I went together. We went to go together and watch Carl Lewis for the first time, like lose. That was the year where he only did the relay. He didn't do his 100 and 200-meter sprint race because he didn't qualify, which was like absurd at this time because Carl Lewis in the 80s or whatever was the man. But here it is, first time he fought. So, but I can remember that watching that race take place. So there was some emotional attachment, even for me, to the Olympics. Watching it for many, many years is something that we come together. And Olympics here's a time where countries that are at war with one another. I think about when Jesse Owens was in Germany, and being able to be a black man in Germany in front of Hitler and being able to represent and kick some butt. Out there is like there's opportunities there where even through war times and difficult times that this is something we compete in a level that's we're not trying to kill each other, but we're actually trying to beat each other and bring the spirit of camaraderie and competition to the world. And so it brings a lot of bonds, a lot of things together. But just like your business or your work itself, there are issues and things that come up that we need to be able to address and recognize that we can learn from these disciplined athletes in certain areas. So let's get into it, guys. Um, Number one, so I got seven takeaways from the Olympics that you can use that'll help you explode your business. That's what we're talking about today. So number one is we connect to their story. Okay, we connect to the story of the athletes itself. If um if we just saw them compete and then whatever it is, that might be okay. But what draws us in and why we become fans or why we become supporters or we're rooting for particular athletes, a lot of times is because of their story, especially if their story is connected to us. What we've gone through ourselves, maybe it's our sport that we compete, that we competed in ourselves. Maybe it's those particular things there, but there's something about the story, the background. There is just a natural attraction to the story behind the story. So why is that important? If you're not telling your company or your brand story, your personal journey that you've gone through, you may not have the connection with the audience, a connection with your potential clients that you need to because you're not giving the authentic version of yourself. You're not bringing in those particular things, but we love to see what their struggle was. What was their background? Like even it was funny. I didn't even realize that Randall Cunningham's daughter was in the high jump. I'm like, oh wait. And so my association here is making that connection because I grew up watching Randall Cunningham, who was for the Vikings. He was one of the best quarterbacks, at the time. But in an era where you didn't have many black quarterbacks, him and Warren Moon and some of those guys were pioneers in an era where black guys weren't quarterbacks. So there's something about that era and that I related to, but it was his daughter and he was in the stands like, oh, look at that connection. And so if I got to see more of her, I may have rooted for her. I don't know, but I only saw a little bit of that, but just a little snippet because I wasn't watching everything. But that was something that I connected to because of the person itself. We have an emotional connection to those folks. What is it about them that locks into our story? Maybe the story of our parents, maybe a story of a friend or somebody that we've seen or somebody that we look up to is depicted by this individual itself. So these are the things that we recognize, and of course their story of it's theirs. It's uniquely theirs. There may be some commonalities with other folks, but it's something that they have that you specifically get with too. So once again, if you're watching this live, I'd love for you guys to comment and ask questions, so I can do that live with you all as well. But of course, if you're watching later on, drop those comments, like, subscribe, do the share, do all the YouTubey things that are unnecessary too. So that is number one. So are you telling your story? There's Donald Miller has a book and a whole company wrapped around called Story Brand. Are you telling telling the story that's going to connect with what I call your soulmate clients? Once again, I got that from one of my coaches that connected me to her story. Nicole was, what is your soulmate clients? And I'm like, yeah, I like that soulmate, that authentic connection, and authentic conversion was the name of her company. And so her branding and her story is what actually drew me into hiring her as one of my coach, and hiring her for my wife as a coach too as well. So that story is what made me connect with that individual. So tell your story. Yes, even the things that may seem embarrassing, some of those things that maybe you think is not important, but you telling a story about what you about the way you view life, your viewpoints. One of my coach right now, Dan Bolton, he tells a story about him buying chickens and having chickens, and something about it that there are some people that related to him because they had chickens too. I'm a chicken person too, so when it comes down to the person, it wasn't nothing like people bought from him because he had chickens, but they related to him, they connected him. And there's some interconnectedness that you need to have with your potential clients in your story, the things that you're telling. So tell your story with authority, learn, and it'll get better. You're going to grow in how you tell your story. The way you communicate your story is going to change. So tell that story about the business, the ministry, the organization that you're a part of. Okay, that's number one. Number two is you are drawn. Well, excuse me. What you're drawn to is a representation of who you are. Okay, what you're drawn to are what individuals that you're drawn to. So I sent an email out to my email list. If you're not on the list, yeah, get on that list itself. And I wanted to give all these points, but it would have been a really long email. So I only gave this point itself, that the stories and the people that you're connected to says a lot about who you are. So for me, number one, I was really connected to Quincy Hall's story. This guy who did the 400 meter. I'm a coach. I've been a coach, and wasn't a track coach, but I trained in the strength and condition side of track athletes. And I ran track when I was younger. All these things, so I connect to some of those things. There's when I'm teaching athletes here how to run, relax, eye socket, back pocket, all these cute mental cues to helping them run faster and compete better. And so for me, seeing him come from behind, Quincy Hall was counted out, and he ran the ugliest, just we say in New Orleans, ill-formed. It was just this ugly. His face was struggling, and he just coming through, and you see those gold teeth shining through, and he just struggling and ugly, and he's galloping instead of being a smooth runner like what he's supposed to. But he won off sheer desire, determination, and heart. And you just see us like, I'm probably not the likely suspect or likely candidate to be here because of my background, because of my upbringing, but he was just being him. And the sheer tenacity. I'd love to hear more about his story. And there's probably some stuff that's come out. I'd love to hear more about his story or who he is. So that was one thing that drew me in. One of those things, because he's an overcomer. He's somebody who's overcome a lot of circumstances, situation. And even in that race, he overcame in that race. So I'm drawn, that being the excuse killer guy that I am, I'm drawn to that kind of story. Okay. The second one for me was like watching the basketball team, the guys. I didn't see the ladies, saw the highlights, whatever, because I was at church. They had played on Sunday. I don't know, so I missed it. But the guys, I watched them in the finals. And of course, Steph Curry just like went crazy, went bananas with his shooting. And just to watch that. And I was on a coaching call yesterday, and hearing one guy being drawn, there's a really epic like poster picture of Steph shooting over Wemby, one of the tallest players in the NBA right now, plays for France. And there's this picture of him, Wemby, who's 7'4" or something crazy like that, trying to block his Steph shot, and he shot right over him. And it was epic. And one of the guys that I was coaching, he said, that was something that captured him. And I haven't met him in person. Everything is online. And first thing I was just catching the story behind the story. And I asked him, how tall are you? He's 5'9". He's a giant like me. Little guys on a basketball court, I know he hoops. We're gonna root typically more so from for the little guys, point guards or people who look like us. My favorite players have always been the shorter guys, the point guards and things of that sort. Tim Hardaway is my favorite player, who was like 6'1", maybe. I don't even know how tall, like 6'1" or so. I had a Muggsy Bogues jersey. You know, Muggsy's what 5'5" or something crazy, like five, whatever. He's little. 5'3", 5'5", I think. So I mean, the shortest players are the ones that I related to. So he related to that guy because he saw himself in the story. Okay, so when you're looking at those individuals, you're connecting according to you, or either something that you've experienced yourself, or something that you would like to experience or want to bring more, something that may be lacking that you want to attach to, and bring some of their um, tenacity or their skills or some of their story into your life. You either experience it or you want to experience it. There's something about it that's about you that's drawn to specific athletes. The way they have their swag, the way they commit, maybe the way they're quiet. You know, that's a part of how you are. You know, you might not like the boisterous, you know, trash talking athletes that are out there, but there's something about you, this, you know, maybe in this quiet confidence that some of these folks displayed. So what is it about you? The third I talked about in my email was, of course, the Australian breakdancer. Um, Not her herself, but the whole story behind it. Of course, the memes and the voiceovers, you know, are like tremendous. They're all over the place and all that. And why am I drawn to that? Because I'm a clown. I enjoy humor. I enjoy making people laugh. I enjoy laughter myself. One of the things I choose to bring the joy. So some people might be, oh, well, you're making fun of. Guess what? That's comedians do. That's what things are, and that was just hilarious to me. So those are things that's drawn in. But what about you? What athletes? What stories? What is it about you that you're drawn into this athlete, that swimmer, that gymnast, that whatever it is? I look at the gymnastics. You know, I'm watching that. My daughter did gymnastics, and she was really, really good at it when she was younger, and she stopped doing it. I was like, broke. My heart was broken because my baby girl was supposed to be the next Dominique Dawes, but no, she didn't do it. She stopped playing, stopped competing as a gymnast too. So yeah, Spud Webb, Jim is on here, and Jim is like, you know, 7'12". He's a giant. He has to duck when he comes in. No, he's not that tall, but he's very tall. But once again, your favorite players may have been tall guys. I don't know, Jim. Share with that. He's talking about, but Spud Webb, yes, I love Spud Webb because here's a 5'7", 5'8" guy who was dunking a basketball. And so for me, that I related to that because I wanted to dunk, and I was just a little guy, but I, you know, didn't think that. But he Spud Webb was kind of one of the 4-minute mile for me. If he can do it, I can do it. And by the time I got to college, I was like an inch or two, maybe taller than him. I was like, well, if Spud can do it, I can do it. So I worked my butt off training to be able to jump, and finally was able to dunk a basketball. So I had about an eight-year span when I was able to dunk, and then there was like knee surgeries and injuries kind of took that. But there was a phase where I was able to do that. And so for me, I relate to the little athletes. And so Spud. So what is about you? Like I said, what are those particular things that you're drawn in as a representation of you as an individual? So think about that. There are certain clients in your business. There are certain clients that are going to be attracted to you because of who you are, your story, how you relate to them. You know, as me as a coach, I'm different from other coaches. There's something that about me and my personal brand that might draw you to work with me. Or I'm going to repel certain people because you might not like the fact that I'm in your face because of my style of coaching, which is great. I don't want to work with the people who are not my people. So that's a part of it, where you being able to recognize what are these strengths and weaknesses and things that are in your story that you're telling about your brand that allows you to stand out in those particular ways itself. So just know that the story that you're drawn to and the story you tell also is going to be what draws other individuals along the way. Jim says Larry Bird was his guy. Yes, I love Larry Bird. Just an anomaly. It's kind of like Brady in camp. Least likely to think he's going to get up in your butt. And Larry was that dog. Just the biggest trash talker of all, you know, of all the time, and backed it up. So once again, Larry can easily relate to some of these athletes we see in the Olympics that are all talking trash along the way too. So, so pay attention to that. What is it that's drawing you in is also going to be the thing that draws in the story that you tell about your brand, your company, your business, your ministry, your organization, whatever it may be that you're leading out into. That story is going to connect to folks according to the way you share it. Okay, number 3, the commitment to success is elite. These athletes' commitment to success are elite. Here's something to consider. For the 2 weeks where they're out in Paris, they missed a whole lot of stuff about life. And if they missed a wedding, missed a party, missed someone being born, you know what? People understood and gave them a pass. Oh, you're in Olympics. I get it. It's okay. Why can't we have the same commitment to our endeavors? So, for those who are Christians and go to church on Sundays, you probably don't get a lot of calls and texts on Sunday at the same time that you're in there because people know that you're committed. But if you're working towards a goal in your business, a growth, a project that you're working on, can you shut everybody down? Can you make some commitment and let people know that I need these boundaries? Because I'm working at my highest Olympic event, which is me being great at my business and serving the people that God has placed before me, and that in a way that's honoring Him. So I need to be able to shut out some things that happens there. But it's funny because those athletes are like, well, their mom's not saying, well, babe, it's my birthday, and so you need to be here for my birthday. You know, I know it's the Olympics, but I need you to be home in Canada, or be home in Cleveland because my birthday is happening. They're not doing that. They get a pass. So what if we had the same commitment, the work ethic that they do, the things they put inside, the commitment to success? I mean, we're talking about they training for years and decades, the hard work that's put in, the commitment. There's a lot of sacrifice. There's certain things they can't do. There's certain drugs and drinking and alcohol and partying that doesn't go with the discipline of being an Olympic champion. Those things don't fall in place. So there are a lot of things they have to have strategic ignorance to. I'm ignorant to the activity, the habits of this thing. I'm ignorant to the noise and the training that's away from what I need to do. So, like at my studio, we have team personal training. I believe it's a better model than having one-on-one personal training. We've solved the problem of expensive and boring one-on-one personal training. That is our solution. So we're not a gym. We're not, you just go in and work out, whatever it is. So our style is going to communicate to a particular individual the way we're committed to our work. But if you want to get on, but we're ignorant to things that are on us. If you want to get on stage as a bodybuilder, we're not your people. So you need to have the right coach, the right training, the right mentors to get you moving in that area itself. But in your business, are you being consistent? Are you being committed to what's necessary for the success itself? Can you take some of these disciplines that you're seeing with these athletes, because excellence is not by accident? It's almost disrespectful when you say, oh, they're just such a gifted athlete. They just have a gift. They work their butts off. The amount of work that takes place, yes, they may have a natural ability to be fast. They may have a natural jumping. They may have a natural, a bit of, they can swim. They have a build, Phelps's body. He's built to be a dominant swimmer. So was Usain Bolt. He just not most people that tall cannot have the turnover, what they call it, the stride frequency couldn't be as good. He had everything lined up, physically, that gave him an advantage. But that does not take away from the hard work and effort that he put in. So what is it that you're doing for yourself? What is it you put in yourself? Jim says, do I go to church or do I go to, yeah, it's a sacrifice. Do I go to church or do I go to a grandson's ball game? There's going to be distractions. There are going to be certain things that you commitment. Now, once again, that's a thing where at your age, is missing one service going to keep you away from, keep you from God? No, it is not. But there are times where we need to say, okay, here's the commitment that I make. Here are the things that I'm doing on a regular basis that are necessary for me to grow and have a sustainable, successful business. I have to have certain disciplines and things that are like Jim says here. How does the average person choose most important? Or I'm probably saying what's most important. Yeah, what the average person does, I can't do that because I'm not built to be average. I'm built to walk towards greatness, not just good enoughness. Okay, so that's a part of it we have to decide. Am I going to be elite? Am I going to be world class at what I do? Then I could take some of these systems and things that these athletes are doing that are showing us what is it that looks like discipline. What is it that looks like something that I'm willing to put in? Which brings us right into the next point. It takes many years to become an overnight success. It takes many years to become an overnight success. Some of these individuals that we see in the Olympics, we never heard of them until this day. Like, oh man, I never heard of them. Look at how good they are. You didn't see the backstory. You didn't see the suffering and the pain and the injuries and all this backstories unless they told it. Once again, you connect to that person that you heard that story that makes a lot of sense to you. And what is it that you and your brand says that this is part of who I am? Okay. So with that, what makes the biggest difference for me when it comes down to I'm willing to put in the long haul. I'm in this for my legacy. I'm in this for the long run. I heard Kevin Hart say one time, it took me 20 years to become an overnight success. You didn't see you didn't see him bombing in the clubs, in the nightclubs, in the comedy clubs. You didn't see him not get the scripts. You didn't see all those things. You see what came to the top. You see what rose to the top in the limelight, but not seeing what happened in the dark. So it takes them, 2 to 4 and some, many years to even get to this stage, to get to that level. So it's a part of like, how are you going to persevere? So your work ethic is going to make a difference. What do you, once again, strategic ignorance? What are you going to say no to so that you can say yes to the outcome that you desire? The big thing that you're looking for, the big picture is long term. And so it takes many years to be an overnight success. People see these folks just pop up on YouTube or pop on your social media, pop up. That didn't just happen like that. Or some of that might be fake. Some of it just might be fake. That all the success and then show you, their Stripe accounts and show you all these things. Some of that might be fake. But the fact that the people who put in the work over years, um, I have notes, I have outline, I work diligently to prepare these messages for you guys. However, this is in me. This is who I am. My identity is having coaching conversations. It's what I'm masterful at, is what I continue to work on being masterful at, having coaching conversations. So off the feedback, off the conversation, this is what I do. This is what I do at world-class level. What is it about you? The way you build the house, the way you're the architect, the way you coach, the way you serve, the way you teach, the way you show up, and you put excellence only towards the way you run your HVAC business, the way you're an attorney, the way you, whatever it is that's in the business that you're in or building, or what you're building towards. All of that matters in the way that you step up and say, I'm willing to put in the work. Okay. I'm willing to put in the work because excellence is the filter. All right. So let's get to number 4. Number 4. No, I did that one already. It doesn't take. Number 5. There will be drama. There will be drama in building a successful business. There will be drama. What do I mean by that? There's going to be some controversy. There's going to be some issues. There's going to be, you look at the Olympic athletes, some of them had injuries. Noah Lyles was talking mad trash about what he's, his the 100 is my side chick. The 200 is nobody can beat me there because 200 is my thing. That's my girl. That's my wife. That's, all the talk. Got COVID. Whether it's true or not, whatever it is, he was not able to perform. All right. He wasn't able to do it. You see folks that scratch and make mistakes, and all these things come along the way as part of the journey. If you look at failure as not something that you avoid, but you look at it as it's a part of the journey. I love the phrase that I never lose. I either win or learn. The only way I fail is if I don't learn the lessons from the failures, from the unsuccessful launch, from the thing, the lead magnet that didn't get traction, for the bomb when I bombed the the public speech, whatever it is that, and I have a speech, I have a opportunity to speak before people, and I totally bombed it. What did I learn? I learned what not to do. I may have learned what not to do again. How can I shift and change so I get better? So if I look at failure and drama, is going to be part. There's going to be controversy. There's going to be setbacks. I mean, think about with the Olympics. You had the opening ceremony that brought all kind of craziness to it. You think about the drama surrounding the whole boxing situation. With male, female, background, Janine's, almost all that stuff. A lot of drama, a lot of situations that go along with that. So in your business itself, you're going to have drama, and the drama may be in the business, or it may just show up in your life, in life situations. And so even what I stand on my coaching is that most men don't have business problems. They have personal problems that show up in their business. So I've known that. I know it for myself, and I know it from the clients that I've coached. I've seen it. I've heard it. I see what's going on. The child is acting up. The marriage is all acting funny. The dog is, you got to put the dog down. All that affects you. I just had a friend that had to put her dog down other day, and I mean, a couple of days ago, and it's like, ask for prayer. And I can only imagine what that's going to be like. I'm not going to be good for a little while when that day comes for me to have to put my dog down. I don't, or lose a loved one. All that stuff affects you. Mom's sick, parents might be, whatever it is. So there's going to be drama. How are you going to persevere? Or are you going to have systems in place that if you need to step away for a little bit, there's somebody else? So when I first started my fitness business, for the first 7 years, it was all me. I did everything. I wore all the hats. So the business owned me more than I own it. Now I'm in a place where I have coaches, I have staff, I have systems in place that I can step away if I need to travel. I can step away if I need to go visit a parent or visit a friend, whatever it is that I need to do. Now I've grown in the business to the point where I'm different. I'm not the same person I was before, but there was drama, there was issues, there was, am I going to make payroll? Those things come up. They come up over the years. So knowing that there's going to be drama, how can I be gritty? How can I be resilient? How can I be anti-fragile so when it hits, I get better? When life, the hard things hit, what what do I need to step up my game in? What areas is it somewhere that I need to grow better in that particular thing? Um, Jim says, "Oop, if we don't fall, then we don't know what we can do." That's correct. We don't know what's in us. We don't know what's in us, or what is it that we need to recruit inside of us. One thing, Jim's always a great guy. He's comes to my studio, trains here. At our church. Just somebody, great friend, great mentor to me. And one thing we teach is, Jim's an older guy. One thing we teach here is like you need to be get up and down off the floor. All right, especially as you're aging. If you have a slip and fall and you don't have the strength to get up and down off the floor, get up from the floor, you could be in trouble if you don't have access to reach that cell phone or whatever it may be. So this is like life training for life. So one thing we do exercises. One's going to be standing, one's going to be on the floor because I need you to have that capacity. And Jim recently was sick and out for a while, and he felt the weakness. He felt that certain things he wasn't able to do, and he's building it back up now, growing there. But you start realizing, like, man, I need this capacity. One of my goals in life, and one of my biggest like guiding lights is to be a cool grandfather. Now, for me, that's a mission. And being a cool grandfather means I have the financial stability, I have the time freedom, I can go wherever my grandbabies are. Now, we're not there yet, but my life, even part of it is like I need to be strong and healthy enough to participate in my grandbabies' lives, not just watch them play. I love my grandparents, but other than playing games and stuff like that, but they weren't throwing a football with me or shooting basketball. They wasn't doing those particular things. They weren't going on hikes. So I want to be able to have the capacity to do that and be that cool grandfather. So that means physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially, all those areas are prime and I'm operating at a high level so that I can be that grandfather that I want to be, the cool grandfather. Okay. So your life mission, all those kind of things come along with that. But knowing that the obstacles are going to come, there are going to be situations and circumstances that come up. Will you be in a position to be able to handle that? Okay. Number 6, your personal brand transcends others in the marketplace. Now, your personal brand. Now, you may work for a corporation or a company. You may be, in a church. You may be in church leadership. Maybe certain organizations where it's not you building a individual entrepreneurial brand. But I believe that every single person should build a personal brand, even inside of an entity, even inside of an organization. Why so? You stand out. If you're so good that they can't ignore you, you stand out. You stand out in promotions. You stand out in opportunities. You stand out to be a person that's considered to do the speak, to be the leader, to be sent to other places to represent the company. So I've had that. I had a coaching client that I work with. He was working on something on the outside, but in the middle of that, his leadership was growing. I was pushing him to become just a better individual, the better leader, and to be more vocal and teaching him to have his voice, his unique signature voice. And in that, promotions came. Go to corporate and represent us as a leader. Taking your first flight on a plane. All these different things were happening because he was growing as a leader. And his personal brand and his business allowed him to, get promotions, get position promotions, to get more money. All these things went along the way. So having a personal brand, even inside of an entity makes a difference. Me having a personal brand that's black and red. That my colors are red. I stand out in that. Calvin Go Hard Richard is signature. There's nobody else. Nobody else on the planet is like that. And Jim and I were talking the other day about the guy Charles Tremendous Jones. Tremendous. That's not his real middle name, but Go Hard is kind of that. It's signature. You remember. Now, of course, if you pronounce my last name as Richard and not other ways, then it makes more sense and it's stickable. It's memorable. It stands out among certain things. Now, I'm not doing that because it draws attention to me, but you go. I'm legacy driven. I'm mission driven. So part of me is I want to make a huge impact on the world. And that what I mean by the world, it might be on these certain individuals, especially men in leadership, mission driven men who are called to do great things for God. I'm called to work with those guys. I'm called to do it in my unique way. So once again, what's going to have you come to me versus going to the other person? Same thing for you. What is it that allows you to stand out because your personal brand says so? Your personal brand, the way you carry yourself, the way you communicate, maybe the way you dress, maybe the way you show up and you take a stance on something, the way you stand firm against something. You throw rocks at your enemies. You throw rocks against what's the old way of doing something because now you have a new way that's more beneficial for those who you lead. Okay, so it's going to transcend. It's going to go above and beyond if you have a personal brand. It's part of you naturally marketing. You don't have to sell yourself so much if you have a personal brand that stands out. So what is it that is building that's authentically you, that's a legacy of what's going to last, because those are the things that what are the things that matter most, and how can you represent that in your messaging? Okay, that's number 6. And number 7, of course, number 7, the Olympic athletes, all of them have coaches. They all have coaches. Had or have or whatever it is, they have coaches. Some are individuals, some they have training partners. A lot of them have training partners. Sha'Carri had TT was one of her training partners, both under the same coach in the same camp. A lot of the Jamaicans were trained under the same guy. That you see both, they all kind of go to the same place because this is guys where they're pushing out these kind of athletes. There's certain schools that are across the board, like my high school, St. Augustine High School in New Orleans, is known for putting out amazing men. Yes, I'm partial to it, but it is. We put out great athletes, great musicians, great entertainers, great politicians. A lot of these folks come from that school. There are certain what they call hot spots. There's certain hot spots in certain areas where athletes are being brewed out of. A lot of those you see in the across Texas. There are certain schools that are known that are dominant in football, dominant in basketball, dominant in certain things because of the way they coach, the way the systems work, the things they put in place, and it's attractive. Okay, but they all have coaches. So when I was a strength coach, here's something to pay attention to. When I was a college strength and conditioning coach, I didn't teach my track athletes how to throw the shot put. I didn't teach them how to hurdle. I didn't teach the volleyball ladies how to spike a ball, how to set, bump. I didn't teach any of that. I didn't teach a basketball player how to shoot. All right. I didn't teach them how to do that. I didn't teach the soccer players what I taught them was how to be a phenomenal athlete, a freak of nature athlete. I gave the coaches a foundation to build those skills on top of. My skill was to make them athletic, to make them powerful, not just strong, but make them powerful, to make them agile, to give them the skills that they can build all these, all the other things on top of. It wasn't my goal. So why do I say that? There's a universal of building an athlete that all these other things had to come across. Building an athlete, it took all of them had to have the same thing: commitment to hydration, to nutrition, to challenging themselves to go heavier, to do work better, to move the bar, to move the weight better and more efficient, to control their bodies. And so I use that methodology that can build across all the boards. So I didn't have to have a baseball workout over here and a basketball workout and a football and a tennis. None of that wouldn't matter because that wasn't my job to give them the specific skill sets on top of that. That was their individual coach's job. So if you're trying to get in better shape, there are fundamental principles and disciplines that you need to have, which will cross over if you're building a business. Same essential. What am I doing as far as creating systems for success? What am I doing to have the disciplines? What am I saying? Not so much about, also about what you're saying yes to, even more so, what are you saying no to? The more you grow in business, the more you grow in leadership, the more you grow in community and relationships, the more attractive you are to opportunity. People are going to say, man, he's doing that really well. I need him on my team. That's why I get recruited for pretty much every single network marketing company on the planet, because I'm good at it. I was good at it. I don't do it anymore. But I get recruited because I'm the Pied Piper, and I know that people know and recognize that this is a guy who has the potential to make me money, or make money, or he would be good at this. So somebody may be looking at you saying they would be good at this. Let's get them to lead this. Let's get them to lead that, because your leadership is becomes more attractive to opportunity. But you need coaches. One thing I knew when I first got started, I knew how to coach. I did not know how to be a CEO. I did not know how to run a business, and I needed help. One of my mentors, John Kemper, took me under his wing to show me how to be a business owner, show me P&L, show me how to do certain things. Brought me books, brought me literature, articles, and I sit and listen to him. When I also, and here's the thing about being resourceful. Some of these athletes, might have needed to find a way to get money to get to the Olympics, or money to get the training, take out loans. They may have take out a loan on their the house to be able to get coaches, whatever it was. I had to be. You may not look at. Don't get caught up what you don't have. Become more resourceful. We look at a lot of times, and a lot of our lack of resources keep us from making the moves. So for me, I needed a coaching program. And it was years ago. Tom Jacobs was using it with this company called NPE, and it came to Austin. I went to this, free seminar or whatever it was, workshop, and he taught some great things and showed how much I needed systems. I needed some coaching, and I didn't have the money to buy it. The cheapest program, it had three different levels. The cheapest one, I didn't have the money to do it. I had to be resourceful. I asked one of my clients who was in a position financially, hey, can you pay for a year? And I'll give you a discount on it. Give you a year. Can you pay for a year so I can purchase this program that I need, this coaching program? And she did that, and I bought that program. And that also laid the foundation for a lot of things for me to learn how to become a business owner. A lot of folks go into business and become an entrepreneur because they have this certain great skill set, which is great. But you have to learn how to become a business owner. You have to learn how to become an entrepreneur. That's something that is different from just being the practitioner, to being a coach, to the guy that can turn the wrench, the guy that can install the AC unit, whatever it is. All those things are great, but how do you actually become a CEO? How do you become an entrepreneur? And I always say that entrepreneurship is so much like athletics. It's so much like training. It's so much like sports performance. So it's almost entrepreneur athlete in essence, in so many different ways, because you need to have the same grit, the determination, and all those things. But you need the leadership, you need the coaching, you need somebody that's going to go before you. And in the last 12, 14 years, I've had 1 to 3 coaches at the same time. I've always had a coach, and I probably always have a coach, because there's something that they can see, they can dig in and see where I'm getting stuck. The coach has to be able to see your potential that you don't see. They have to believe it more than you believe it to pull you into that. And I see it with my clients all the time, whether it's at the studio, whether it's with my men's coaching with Lionheart. I see their potential. And my goal is like, look, and I tell them a lot of times, when your belief in yourself catches up to the belief I have in you, you're going to be unstoppable, because I already see the potential. I see what you can do. And you just don't, you have stories about, I'm not this yet, I'm not that yet, I'm not strong enough, I'm not whatever it is, all those stories there, that my job is to break that limiting belief, break those old stories, the non-serving stories, and build you up and edify you in a way, and encourage you to be in a position where I can do this. And I can feel like I'm gonna make you feel like you can break through a wall, that you run right through this wall in your area itself. That's part of having a coach. That's having a mentor. You can call it a mentor, teacher, whatever you want to call it, your sage, your whatever names you want to call it, but your tour guide. Somebody that's going to be Misty Miyagi. Somebody's going to be Yoda, who's going to be that person, that guide that moves you along the way. All right. What's going on, Christian? I see you there, fam. Good to see you, man. If you have any questions, please drop in there. We're talking about the Olympics and how we can learn and take aways from that. So that last point, like I said, is having a coach. Some of you watching this, I coach men. I coach entrepreneurial men who or leaders who want to have, as me as an elite human performance coach. It's digging into the life stuff, is digging into the business stuff. That's what I do. If that resonates with me, reach out. You find a way to get in touch with me. Reach out. Love to chat with you about that. But once again, find the one that's right for you. Find the coach that makes it right for you, because these athletes depend on the coach's wisdom, knowledge, experience. You saw Noah Lyles. If you watch the sprint documentary they had ahead of time, a lot of it has to do with show his coaching. And I remember one of the things this coach says, like, at this level, I can't teach him how to run fast. I need to teach him how to run faster. That's pretty cool. It's the fine tuned stuff at that level. But for some of us getting started, there may be some fundamental things that somebody has gone before you. That the success, like I said at the beginning of this, success leaves clues. So there is a part of success. It does not have to be in your specific industry. You can find success in the disciplines, in the structure, in the systems, in another person that in another industry that you can actually take and put in yours. And some of that is going to allow you to be more signature and be able to stand out with that personal brand, because you're doing it in a unique way, because you learn it from something outside of your industry and you applied it, and that makes you stand out a little bit better too as well. So hopefully it's been helpful for you guys. Once again, go ahead and subscribe and like and comment and share and do all the cool YouTube stuff there too. Share this with your people. You might know somebody that says, man, they need to hear this message. Please share it with them, your folks, and love to continue to build something amazing for you guys. And that's all I got. All right. Have a great one. God bless. Go hard. Peace.